Time management, arguably one of the most underrated, underthought, underspoken about habits and topics that is going to take you to success. Now, what would you say if I said to you the reason you're not making as much progress as you would like or think to expect from your work is because you're not managing your time? Well, that is what I'm going to discuss today, and it's going to be time management. Time management allows you to unlock every hour, every minute of your day, allows you to reach your full potential in every hour and in every day. It doesn't leave a stone unturned. It allows you to realize that time is very finite and that not every day is given to us, and that when you do have a spare minute, spare 5 minutes, a spare hour, however long it may be, it makes you realize that this time is to be managed and to be used effectively. So, I'm going to discuss time management with you all so that you can make the most of your days, most of your time and spare time, and ultimately give yourself more spare time, more free time. So, what would you say if I said 18 minutes a day of focused hard work can put you ahead of 99% of people? Well, you'd say, I'd like to think you'd say, wow, 18 minutes. It's really not a long time. 18 minutes, I can find that time. I can maybe break that down into 5 minutes and another 5 minutes here and then 8 minutes, and boom, you've got 18 minutes. Well, that should be your response because it's that easy to get ahead of the 99%. That's the first thing you need to understand, is it's actually simply about even just doing the basics of simply sitting down and doing even the 5 minutes, the 8 minutes. Even break that down into six, 3 minutes if you really want to. Okay. It's all about the principle of doing the thing in the first place. Now, time management makes you realize that, okay, let's say I have a full day's work. Let's say 9 to 5, you are busy. That's not a time. Let's say you have getting to and from, let's say now 8 to 6. Then let's say you have gym, you wake up, maybe go for a run before work. So you have times before and after you're busy. Time management allows you to realize those gaps in between those things. So those 18 minutes can be broke down between your run and getting to work. You can do 5 minutes. When you get home from work, before you go to the gym, you do another 5 minutes. And then maybe when you get back from the gym, you do 8 minutes. So that's the principle of time management is there is it's ultimately something that makes people realize there's no excuse to whatever it is you're trying to achieve. It makes you realize you have time in the day. Now, funnily enough, I actually like to believe we all have time in the day. It's a common misconception that we kind of give to ourselves and allow ourselves to almost make ourselves feel better, feel like we're busier by saying we're busy when we're not. And often it comes down to poor time management. If we really are busy, we really feel like we're super busy, as in we can't reply to certain text messages, or maybe we can't get that little task done. A lot of it is you've had the time to do so. You've just chosen not to for whatever reason. So that's where procrastination can creep in, is the lack of time management. So, time management. Well, before I obviously explain more what it is, or sorry, how it can benefit you and why it's so important, as I'm sure you can imagine, we need to understand first what it is. Now, I did do some writing on my page here. That's why I keep looking down, by the way. This is all raw, it's not a script, it's just points. So, what is time management? Well, broke it down to three things with a final summarize to link them all together, which I'm sure you'll like. So, time management is first tracking. So, time management is tracking everything you do. So, like I said, you've got to list all of your essentials, so non-negotiable tasks. It's the first thing you do. So, think right now to yourself, what are my non-negotiable tasks? What do I have to do every single day? They are the things that need to be like set in stone and accounted for. How long do they take? No matter worst case scenario, 5 minutes to brush your teeth at most. That sort of thing. Then you have setting. Setting is understanding your tracked things, which you have to do. So let's say going to work, walking the dog, eating your food. Setting is then setting if you have the ability to adjust those things, setting the right amount of time to do so, also allowing time before and after. But then also, let's say you want to add a task in some of your spare time. Setting is, all right, I wake up at 6, I have work, which I have to leave for at 8. At 6, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna spend half an hour just getting ready for the day, so brush teeth, shower, whatever. That's plenty of time to get ready. if you're a male like me. It's way too much time actually. Then from half six to half seven, you guys free time. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna set tasks in that time. So for example, the odd day in the week, I like to go for a run in that time. So half six, latest, I set myself to have left the house and then go do some exercise. Now the third one, which I'm not sure many of you would have thought of, which is creating. Creating. Now, why would I be saying creating in time management? It kind of links back to what I was saying before about procrastination and feeling like we're busy. Now, do not get me wrong, you can have a full day. I am not taking away from that. There are days where I am very busy. I'm sure you've had very busy days where you do genuinely feel like you have no time and there are no time. And maybe the only spare time you have is like five or so, 10 minutes in between a task. Maybe in that 5, 10 minutes you just go sit outside. Maybe you just don't do anything, and that's fine. That is a valid use of time. If anything, doing nothing is something. Every action counts, remember. So creating, I put this down because time management is obviously about tracking, it's tracking what you do, and it's about setting time accordingly to do certain tasks. But then the beauty of time management is you can create time. Now, I'm not saying you can add 5 hours to a day and have 29 hours a day. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can track and set in a way which creates more time for you. So what you can realize is that, hey, with some tasks, you can kill two birds with one stone. Okay, so let's say you want to read, or maybe you need to walk the dogs, whatever it may be. And you realize, okay, I'll use the dog analogy. Well, I need to do a run today. So you set yourself a task to go for a run, but then also you need non-negotiable to walk the dog. Fitness, non-negotiable, whatever. You get my point. You now know with your brain that we all have, you can connect them two together and you can go for a run with your dogs. So now you killed two birds with one stone. So you've essentially just created half an hour to an hour's slot of time, whichever one you want to view it as. You've created time. You've saved a task which would originally be there, combine it with another. So there's one thing. Creating time is again the most beautiful thing of time management because then you realize how efficient you can be with your day. So let's say there's something you wanted to watch, maybe there's a podcast you're really interested in, or maybe there's a video you need to educate yourself on, whatever it may be. Depending on obviously the context, let's say you do need to watch it and take notes sort of thing, then fine. But even the likelihood of once you're eating, you can watch that video. Maybe that will then give you the information you need to then go have a conversation with someone. Because when you're eating, it's very easy just to watch random things, I know. But what if you made that something useful, something that gave you value? So, for example, today I finished my meal and I instantly had to leave. So, whilst eating my meal, watching something valuable, and I could go, I didn't go see someone straight away, but I went outside, time to ponder. And then after that, I went and seen Ayrton. I was able to speak to Ayrton and talk about things. So, in doing so, I managed to combine tasks, create more time efficiency. And another very good aspect of creating this time is, first of all, you can get more done in that time you created. So now you've created time, it allows you to potentially catch up on tasks that maybe you need to do. Maybe it's time for you to spend a little longer doing current tasks. So, for example, for quite some time, me and Ayrton would go to the gym in the morning before Silver Bullet. We would not get a lengthy gym session in. We would find that our sessions weren't great because we're, it's tired, we're early, not ate, fasted, and just kind of half asleep, whatever. You're not able to push yourself as hard, right? But in rearranging that morning routine, like I said, now going for runs instead, walks, and taking that time using it for other things, now I can spend, when I do go to the gym, a longer period of time, allowing that task to be a more proficient task, all right? So I could keep going on about all the benefits of what time management can create, but ultimately it gives you more time. You are now tracking, so being accountable of what you're doing with your time. You'll also realize what you shouldn't be doing. So you realize, right, this is my day. Let's say you do this, and let's say you look at your day. Let's say you're at school, or maybe you are at work, whatever it may be. You look at your day, course of my day. How am I busy? How do I feel like I have no time to do this? If you catch yourself talking to anyone and they're like, "Oh, how's this going?" You're like, "Yeah, it's going good, but how much have I done? Oh, not I've done this much." And like, "Oh, that's not. I thought you would have done more." Yeah, I've been busy, and then you in your mind you're like, "Well, I've actually not been that busy." Well, the likelihood is you've been doing things that maybe you shouldn't have been. Maybe you haven't been managing your time. So it's very easy to get lost in time scrolling, you'd be surprised the amount of hours that go in social media, the amount of time they just sap away from you. Even the time sat in the toilet. Sometimes people just go to the toilet and end up being sat there for a long time. I'm guilty of it. In between those 10 minutes of time where, I said before you could be doing nothing, that 10 minutes could be on your phone. So it makes you much more accountable to what you should be doing with your time. So ultimately, the beauty of time management is you can track everything, keeps you accountable. Then you have the freedom of what, when and where, and whatever suits you best. And it also creates more time for you if you do it right. It should give you the opportunity to get more out of your day because time is finite. We're in there 24 hours a day. We'll have the same 24 hours a day. But also out of those 24 hours, let's say you sleep 8 hours, you're 16. Out of those 16 hours, you're going to spend a couple or a few hours eating. Then you're going to spend a few hours, I'd like to presume, exercising. So for me, I'm going to usually spend 3 or 4 hours a day active. So now what? We're talking 8 to 10 hours you have to do things. Now, for example, trading takes me 2-ish hours in the morning, before and after preparation, 6 hours, 6 hours of time now. I'm aware roughly I have to do things. We can get a lot of things done in 6 hours. So you quickly realize how finite your time is when you have all these non-negotiables and it's a case of doing everything you need to do. Those 6 hours now, I'm able to look and be like, right, I can do what I want. If I feel like I need time to mentally recover, whatever is gone on, I can take that. If I'm energized and I've got a to-do list, I can crack on with it. 6 hours is plenty of time to do stuff. So why is time management so important? Well, everything I've just said, pretty much. Nice and simple. Time management, create time, keep accountable, and make sure you're not wasting time because, frankly, guys, tomorrow is not given. You do not know what is ahead. And let's say, unfortunately, you're on your deathbed, or unfortunately, you're at the gates of heaven and you were asked honestly, did you really make the most of yesterday? Did you really live a full, fulfilling life that entire 24 hours? Did you make the most of your time? Tom, take the most advantage out of the time I was given? Well, you want the answer to be yes. So, simply put, you'll get nothing done if you do not manage your time. Simple as that. Because if you don't manage your time, you'll get in and you won't have a structure. You won't have these things to do. You won't understand that you only have 2 hours spare of your entire day. Because if you work full time, 9 to 5, you actually don't have a lot of time Monday to Friday. You basically have no time. You realize that time is so finite. So you have to use time management to be aware and actually make the most of every minute, every second, because time matters. And if you're going to escape and change your situation, you have to spend near enough every minute spare, besides maintaining your income and your health. You have to spend every spare minute occurring and working towards a new life because that's what you have to do. I'm sure you would have heard, presuming you're watching this video and you're this far in, you would have heard, I have faith, that the life you're chasing of, the freedom, the success, whatever it may be, comes from what you do after your 9 to 5. It comes from the 6 to 8. Okay. It comes from the before and after. So that spare time is the most valuable, important time. That's what you have to understand. So time will fly away if you do not pay attention to how much time you actually have. I promise you this, it will happen. And just sit and think for a second. When has time just flown? How many times have you been on your phone? How many times have you been sat there and you're like, whoa, time's gone? How many times have you had that regretful moment where you're like, damn, I got caught scrolling? Or time will fly away if you don't do something. You have to be doing something. You have to manage your time. Otherwise, it will slip between your fingers. Now, the last thing I'm going to say, which links to time management, is that when it comes to managing your time, you have to understand that every action counts. Every action counts. So everything you do, including planning your time, managing it, everything you do in your day counts towards something. Now, like I was saying, the cliche example, 9 to 5, before gym, before run, after gym, and so on and so on and so on. They are all for where you're trying to go. But then let's say you do those things, which is great, very good basis to have. Then let's say around those things, you're then spending, let's say you've got 2, 3 hours, let's be generous, you've got 2, 3 hours outside of those things, probably a lot less, probably 2 hours, an hour spare to get you before you have to go to sleep for 8 hours sleep. And you spend half of that just scrolling, just watching a YouTube video, maybe just chilling, which I personally don't really agree with. If you're not in the situation you want to be, it's not the time or place to be doing it. You realize that that half an hour you spend chilling before you do the other half an hour of working makes that half an hour of work less effective because now you're in a chill, oh, I don't really want to do this, I deserve to not be doing this. But also now you've wasted half an hour. Lost half an hour. Half an hour for what? Almost sympathy for yourself. Okay. That is an action against where you're going. So spend every minute you have trying to manage your time perfectly, trying to acquire the life you want, and that can come in many ways. Now, I'm not against chilling. It just really does depend on the situation. I know you might see this and think, no, I do deserve to chill, and we do. There are times where we deserve to have time out. We do, we really do. I've had my time out today, and that has been an activity of riding to the other side of a forest and back. That's my chill. I'm chilled now after that. I don't need to sit and be like, ah. But likewise, if my other version of chilling was maybe doing something like gaming or something that was definitely negative, it was definitely not positive. I know that that's negating some of the positives I've made in my day. So, say instead of going on a bike ride, I gamed or I watched some film, something like that. That's weighing down. So, time management makes you realize that everything matters. Okay. You need to track everything you do, everything, how long you spend on the toilet on TikTok or whatever. How long, maybe if you do play games already, how long are you playing games? How long are you doing it? Uh, Fine if you want to keep that as part of your routine, because I understand balance is for some something they very much believe in. Okay, how much time you spend doing it? Are you setting a time for specific tasks? So fine, are you even setting the time, a window to game? Are you saying after my full day's work, have I done all my non-negotiables? I'm going to give myself half an hour, and are you sticking to that? That's another thing, time management. Are you managing your time? And importantly, more importantly, are you actually creating time? If you don't already have the time, if you feel like you don't have the time to do things, if you feel swamped, say, oh, I need to backtest. I need to backtest. I want to test this new strategy. I want to look into this and this. And it takes you like a week, weeks, months, whatever, to get even started, to even sign up for an account, whatever. My friends sit down with a pen and paper and be like, this is outrageous because I thought of an analogy on my walk I did just before this, and it was the likes of Elon Musk are the ones who are working hundreds of hours, weeks on weeks. Okay, how much time do you reckon he has to chill? Let's be real, he probably does have chill time. Okay, he probably has time with his family, he probably has time to go on social media, all those things. Fine. But do you reckon he's chilling for the sake of chilling? Or do you reckon he's chilling with his family? Do you reckon he's chilling in the right way? Do you reckon he's going to the gym and doing exercise? That's how I imagine it. Now, if I was to think as Tom, not the owner of X of Tesla, and to think my days are that busy, I can't get the things I want done, I'm gonna look at myself and almost kind of laugh at myself because I don't own a billions worth, millions, whatever, worth of company. I don't actually have a great ordeal of things to do. Yeah, trading, running this myself, that's my biggest job at the moment. I should have time for anything and everything that is to come my way. And so should you, because presuming you're watching this, you should be in a time in your life where you do have lots of time and you do have plenty or enough time to do what needs to be done. Now, of course, it's only so many hours in a day. You can't get everything done in a day. I'm aware of that. But there's still being a list or a process. And remember, going back to the start, 18 minutes every single day. So all you have to do is get ahead. Now, forget the 99% because, again, in watching this, I already believe that you're not the 99%. I believe you're part of the 1% because the 99%, I mean, this is probably what, 18 minutes in already. I'm not aware of how long. I'm just talking. They're probably gone. They are probably gone. So, time management, manage your time, guys. It's pretty simple. If you think you should be making more progress or you should be more further down the line, maybe it's because the work you're doing is not good quality. And this leads me on to probably my final point for this, which is what a member of the community suggested, which was OCAN. Now, I'll just bring it up so I can kind of more quote it. And what he said was, so time management in the aspect of the time you spend studying versus the actual time you need to do so. As in, it's not always better to spend more time studying. So, time management in this aspect, he's hit a very good nail on the head with that point. Now, just because I had 6 hours in my example before, but I have 6 hours free in my day, that does not mean I'm going to spend 6 hours in my day backtesting. No, those 6 hours of backtesting would probably be of a quality of about 40% at best, probably more like 20, 30%. Reason being is I'm cramming a whole load of work into a period of time where I'm not giving myself much break. I'm not allowing my mind to adapt and do different things. I'm gonna burn out on that simple task. Not only that, you want to do a task like backtesting in an aspect where it's consistently going into your mind day in, day out. Because you're not doing backtesting just to crunch out the numbers. Yes, you want to get the numbers, but you don't want to get it done in a week, like boom, done. 4 years done. I can trade now. No, because out of those 4 years of data you've just done in a week of life, do you really think your mind is going to be able to recall and develop its pattern recognition enough that in that week you've just got all that information to go into the live market? No. However, if instead you did an hour or 2 hours every day, for example, myself in that scenario, which is exactly what I've done this year. I actually finished, I got 4 years of data done in about a month and a bit. I did an hour, in essence, an hour every day. Some days, I think it was on average, it usually be a day a week. I just wasn't able to. But then the weekends, sorry about that. On the weekends, I'd usually be able to do a bit more. That would allow my mind to actually take the benefits of what I'm studying. So I'm studying the charts. I'm looking at what's going on in front of me. Click, click, click. Okay, this. My mind's taking it. That hour of focus work is going to be a higher quality than if I'm just cramming and doing, it's kind of the opposite of cramming, but if I'm just overloading everything at once. Now, let's say you're trying to study for school. If you're going to do that in one large chunk, yes, you're going to get through the whole book of whatever you're trying to revise, fine, but you're probably going to forget about half of it and probably a lot more. Now, I know there are studies behind this. I have not come that prepared for that occasion, but open ChatGPT and ask it. He's going to tell you, or they are going to tell you very well. So consistency is key. Okay, you have to manage your time every day. When can I afford to do something, even 18 minutes worth? 18 minutes worth of back testing, you can get a handful of trades done, I'm sure. That consistently is going to put you ahead of the 99%. But it's also going to put you ahead of yourself if you're only doing inconsistent chunks of work. Inconsistent. Blop, not do it for a week. Blop, not do it for a week. Blop, a few days later, a little bit. Blop, fine, better than nothing. But nothing is what everyone does anyway, so we're not going to talk about that. You want to manage time effectively so that you're being realistic with the expectations of your results. So manage time so that, okay, I have a few hours free today, but I also don't have a few hours free every day. So if I do spend some of this time working, high quality work, so let's say you're in university, do an hour or two of university, an hour or two of trading. Maybe you spend an hour watching some recap videos on some trades. Maybe you watch something psychology related. And you spend the other hour back testing. Maybe you spend another 15 minutes journaling. By breaking up all this time into different little segments, obviously you'd set and track all the different things you have to do then. You then created yourself this little time slot of, my example, 3 hours. That 3 hours you can then go use to put yourself in a better headspace for the next day, for whenever. Because Giving yourself time of nothing is also very valuable and allowing time for things to come up, friends, family, and so on. So, time management. If you really do feel like you're putting in hours and hours and hours on end and you're not making as much progress as you'd like to see, the likelihood is you're not managing your time effectively. Maybe you're doing the work, but you're not doing it in an effective manner. Maybe rearrange, reshuffle, maybe do less but more focus. Maybe change the time you're doing it, and so on. These are all little things that will allow you to get ahead. One thing I have to say about trading, if you do feel like you're not making any progress, that does not mean you're not making progress because trading takes time to pan out. See, you can have a strategy, you can be profitable, and it can still take you 3 months to even get a result that will correlate the idea that you've made progress. Okay. Progress comes from daily wins. Progress comes from being consistent, from following your plan and being disciplined. Okay. And you have to understand that. So manage your time. So remember, track your time. So what you're spending your time on, because time is spent. Okay. Set time tasks. So whenever you have to do them, set them. If they're already kind of decided for you, then work around that. That's what you work your life around, whatever has to be done at X time, and then set accordingly. Okay. So create time, set it in a way where it's like, right, well, I have this at this time. Let me put this in before. That means I have my whole afternoon free to then sit, trade, backtest, so on. And remember, guys, you have to do it. The management, the time management plan you set, you have to do. Otherwise, it falls through. If you do get lazy and you knock off one task, then you're more likely to knock off the next, and it'll be a reoccurring little domino effect. So manage your time, guys. It's been one of the best things I've ever done is be aware of every action I've done and remember constantly that every action counts because it does. This call, me talking to this camera, it counts. It counts to my trajectory of where I want to be. After this call, going and having a herbal tea before bed and clearing my room and preparing for tomorrow, that counts. Likewise, if I didn't do that. Likewise, if I went and played Xbox and scroll on TikTok or whatever, watched a YouTube video and then turned it off, and that potentially is not going to take me in the same trajectory. Like it is, it's probably not. So remember, every action counts. Manage your time. Simple as that. And when you start managing your time in a way where you know, because only you know it, when you know you're doing everything you can in your day to get to where you want to be, and you do that for long enough, it's only a matter of time, my friends. So, on that note, whatever time of the day you're watching this, I hope you have a great day. I hope you take what I've said and apply it to your life and become better as a result of it. It's been a pleasure. Adios, amigos. Bye bye.